Hello, ladies, and welcome to Femme TV. I'm Elle, and I'll be your host today. So we have some lovely ladies from the tribe joining us today. We have Farhana, Michelle, the
Hi.
founder of Femme TV. We have Deb, who's a lovely dentist, and we have Susan. Welcome, welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you.
So are we all nicely set up in our Zoom setup at home right now, staying safe, social distancing? It's the pandemic. And so today's interview is all about how we are still able to come together and be this lovely group of women and, even through this pandemic. So we'll keep it fun, we'll keep it light yourself, and this is going to be an amazing time. Michelle, I just wanted to direct this first question to you. Could you talk about why you felt the importance of creating this tribe, this group of women? What were you hoping that this would bring to your life and bring to others that are part of Femme TV?
So thank you, Al. The main reason for starting the tribe, we've all been friends for a very long period of time. I think Farhana and I have been friends for, I would say, maybe 11 years. Sue, almost 10. Deb, maybe 6. And Grasso, who's not here, around maybe a year prior to that. We have a natural connection from the get-go. We've always gotten along very beautifully. And as a result of that, when I started brainstorming not Femme TV, but just Femme Co, I knew I wanted the tribe to be part of it. I enjoy spending time with all the women within the group. I love their energy, and I knew that each person would bring something of value to the overall group. So that's the main reason for starting it.
All right, and I'll kind of direct that same question to Susan. How has being part of the tribe influenced your life? And maybe you could talk about strong female friendships that you have in your life.
Well, the main tribe person that I first met was Michelle, and we connected immediately. She has an aura about her that I just was so drawn to, and I have so much respect for her. And with that, she introduced me to the other tribe members, and who are just as equally as motivated and have this drive in them. And that's what's really important for me, because we need our friends, especially our female friends, to help us through tough times in life.
Like, I can't stop smiling because it's so, precious to me, the tribe. I'm fortunate enough to be involved with these amazing women who've overcome so many obstacles in their life, and doing it in a very healthy way that I can take from them and apply in my everyday. I am fortunate that I have this group from Femme that I will have lifelong friends from, and we will continue to motivate each other in any new projects we take on. So, I mean, it's a huge thing for me. And I want more and more to be part of it, because what we get out of it is just so much that we can give back out. So what you get is what you give.
So Deb, you're a dentist, Teeth by Deb. Could you maybe talk about how this pandemic has affected your work in the healthcare industry, your work-life balance? Maybe there's some fear and anxiety around being patient-facing. Could you talk a bit about that?
It's been a hugely story. We've got, of course, we're Zooming.
Yeah.
Coffee makers.
I lost an earring earlier, in case you hadn't noticed. It's just, it's real life. This is real life.
Coffee makers shutting down. See, coffee. So during the pandemic, it's been, I can't even articulate how challenging it's been. It was challenging enough before the pandemic, but being 18 inches away from patients and potential virus load, and just dealing with how to keep our patients safe, keeping the practice going, keeping our staff safe, as well as ourselves safe. We've really had to pivot and adapt. I've got to say, I'm very proud of our field in healthcare. We've learned a lot. We've kept everyone safe. It's been a very anxious, challenging time. Crash course in virology and infection control. But our field in healthcare has always sort of been very vigilant with this. Truly, the only word that I can really say is challenging.
Okay.
We've had to adapt our offices and ourselves. Everyone knows the term now, PPE, protective gear that we all have to wear. You've seen my office, my clinic. It's not quite hazmat suits, but full gowns, full N95 masks. And
I definitely felt very safe. I felt like all the precautions were in place, and yeah, I was just very happy to get my teeth cleaned. Next on the list is a haircut. That's next on the list.
Yes, and just getting people, as you said, comfortable enough and reducing their anxiety to come in, keep the practice afloat. You run a business, you've got responsibilities to keep your staff employed, to yourself be able to pay your own personal bills.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well by saying this is a challenging time, right? But you've made it work.
We have.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'm really proud of my field. We've kept everyone safe, and I think the comfort is there now. People are coming back, and healthcare doesn't stop. So
no, that is true. That is true. Farhana, speaking about pivoting, as Deb said, you work in the business finance kind of side of things, and business have been incredibly affected during this pandemic. We're seeing a lot of small businesses shut down, others that are thriving. We've seen a boom in the e-commerce industry. Could you talk a bit about how you've seen business change throughout the pandemic?
I'd be happy to, Elle. It's actually a really great point that you bring up, and I'm glad that Deb touched on how her business has pivoted and had to change and evolve because of what we've been going through for the last 12 months. For me personally, working at home was probably the biggest change that I had to deal with. Going from an office environment to sitting in my house for the last 12 months has been insane. But as a director at a bank, and a very large bank, I work primarily with business clients and putting together programs, working with the government, trying to find ways to help them bridge gaps when we were in lockdown was a really big part of my world. And I'm really proud to have been part of that. But even going forward, having the opportunity to see how businesses have had to change and evolve. The biggest change being technology and thinking about different ways to do business. That's where businesses like Femme, I think, have been so pivotal for small business owners, giving them another avenue by which to share their products and services with the greater community when you can't just walk into a storefront the same way that you used to. But for other industries, it's really been important to think outside the box. Some have been in a great position, whether it's in agriculture or technology, where they have been thriving through all of this because more people are at home, more people are cooking at home, more people are seeking out ingredients that are fresh and sourced from the farm as opposed to manufactured in factories. It's just been an evolution, and being able to think differently, watching the way that companies have pivoted, to use a very almost overused term, but it's been imperative to success and to being able to continue to thrive through the last year, and I think even going forward. So innovation has been important, and really being able to think outside the box.
Yeah, no, definitely very important. And Michelle accomplished that by doing Femme TV. And if you want to hear more about the genesis of Femme, there is another interview that you can watch on the Femme TV YouTube channel. So make sure you like, you subscribe. But I did want to ask you, Michelle, more specifically, what did you want women to get from Femme TV? What did you want the takeaway to be from Femme TV and Femme & Co?
You know, all I ever wanted when we started Femme TV is for when women come to our channel, for them to be inspired, for them to get information, for them to learn, for them to cry, for them to connect, for them to feel like they can relate. That's it. There's no other agenda that I have. I think we have as a unit than to really connect women and to inspire them and to also make them feel and know that whatever they're going through or feeling or thinking or wanting, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for you, Susan, to hear from other women that are, you know, going through the same ups and downs as you are, and going through the same challenges of having to balance work-life balance and home life and all of that, and self-care, is that helpful for you to see that you're not in this alone?
Oh, absolutely. I think that we all have to remember that we're all in this together. We have different stories, we have different lives, different situations, but at the end of the day, we're all going through the same type of stress that is being brought upon us. I think that just to go back what Michelle had said about why she had decided to put Femme TV together, I think that Michelle you're replicating the relationship that us girls have together, and it works, and we empower each other and help each other. And Michelle's vision is to bring that outside of our group. And yeah, so we're all in this together, and we'll get through it. Absolutely.
Yeah, baby steps. We're getting there. We're getting there. Vaccines are rolling out. I think, Deb, you're a superwoman now, or a half superwoman. You had your first dose.
Yeah.
It's coming, right? Yeah.
And I can tell you no side effects, and I encourage everyone to get vaccinated. Please, we need to keep everyone safe. We want to get back to the norm, right? So.
Yes. I'm missing my get-togethers with the tribe, my glass of wine on the patio with the girls. I'm missing those moments, right? Those important moments. All right, you ready for another fill in the blank, ladies?
Absolutely.
Would you like some dessert? Yes, please. I'll have the blank. I'll go to you, Deb, first, because I know the answer.
I think I was Italian in my other life, ladies, so you know my answer, tiramisu.
Yeah. Susan, go to dessert for you.
Absolutely, is caramel crunch.
Okay. Michelle?
I love tiramisu also.
Tiramisu.
Yes.
And for Hannah?
Well, I mean, we all know I'm a chip junkie, so I'm not going to give you that answer, even though it probably is my go-to. I'm going to say that if I have a choice and it's dessert, it's going to be a really warm chocolate brownie with ice cream.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we know what our little sweet tooth fix is. Wanted to talk to you about some guilty pleasures we've been having during this pandemic. Have you guys been binge watching anything on a streaming platform? Is there a series of books you're going through? I see Susan's nodding her head. Anything that you want to share that you've been binge watching?
I've been completely addicted to watching The Crown.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Love the Queen.
I think they've confirmed the next season, so
yeah,
you'll get more Crown to binge watch in the upcoming year. Deb, what have you been binge watching, binge reading?
Ooh, I don't get to watch that much TV. So being in lockdown, which is, I never would have thought that I wouldn't work for 3 months, which is the way I found myself with the rest of the world last spring. What have I seen? The Crown, I'm with Susan. Suits,
Okay.
which I love because it's filmed right by our office downtown Toronto. And I will say this, ladies, I have seen Bridgerton. A little English guilty pleasure there. Not too hard on the eyes. So
That was definitely a steamy show. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. For Hannah, any guilty pleasures, any binge watching?
Absolutely. So I started the pandemic by discovering this show called Lucifer. You want to talk about something that's easy on the eyes?
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yep.
would be my guilty pleasure. So I went through all the seasons of that, followed very closely by Virgin River, also easy on the eyes.
Yes.
And then Bridgerton, also easy. There's a theme. There's a
3
theme
for
here
3
with me.
there.
Yeah,
you're on
I mean, if
roll,
I'm going to
Hannah.
go guilty pleasure, I'm going to go guilty pleasure, right? And yeah, I've
And-
been reading a lot, like a lot. And I think
Oh.
everybody out there should be reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Probably the best book I have picked up in my very long life. Phenomenal book. Really, really well written. I highly recommend it.
Untamed. And Michelle, what are you doing? You have children, so are you binge watching cartoons, or do you have your own guilty pleasures?
So I'm not a big TV watcher. I have no shows that I'm attached to. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm more of a big reader. So I read everything from Wayne Dwyer. I'm reading Wishes Fulfilled now. Back and forth between that and Moses Code, but yeah, I'd rather read, and I quite enjoy it. So that's a great book, Wishes Fulfilled. Yeah.
Are you finding yourself having more time to read now that it's the pandemic, or because of
No.
Femme TV, you're kind of same?
No, not more time to read, but kind of making time to read. You know, I do that in the morning, or I do it late at night. I get it in. Yeah.
All right. Another question I'll direct to all of you ladies is it's about self-care. So we had an episode on Femme TV with Dr. Gina, who's a mental health professional, and she was saying that it was very important to carve out time for self-care and, you know, treat it like a job, that it's a priority and you need to make that time. Could you give us just a little nugget of what it is that you do for yourself for self-care? Susan, maybe you could start us off.
I think for myself, it's very important for me to stay fit.
Okay.
And so for self-care, I absolutely love to work out, but even more so, I love meditation and yoga. I find that it centers me and it calms my mind, helps me think clear. I'm more productive during the day. So that to me is very important.
Okay. And for Hannah, what are you doing for your self-care?
Well, I'm a big one who needs an outlet. So I discovered something I hated became something I loved, and that was running. So if you had ever asked me before this pandemic, I was a gym rat, like, give me my weights, I'm a happy person. Or I taught yoga for many years when I was younger, and yoga has always been a go-to, but it just didn't feel like enough. And not being able to go to the gym, I needed something. So I started running more just because I needed something, and now it's become my addiction. It's like my drug of choice.
Running to the grocery store to get a bag of all dressed chips and then running back home?
No. But that's a good idea. I might start doing something like that. Yeah, pack a little backpack and go. That could happen. So yeah, it's running. I've also discovered this love for my tub. I had no idea that just sitting in bubbles could actually be enjoyable.
Second that. I'm doing a lot of soaking myself. Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
Michelle, you're a runner as well, and I think you just recently got a Peloton as well. So would you say that fitness is also a self-care for you?
So I've always, been, try to be fit. Let's be honest here. Always try to be fit. I've had a treadmill, used it. I enjoy running outside when the weather was good, but I got a Peloton and I'm on it every day, even if it's 30 minutes. I put the time in, so I'm enjoying that. Yeah.
Good, you're cutting out that time. And Deb, we had a lovely story at dinner the other day about fitness that you were doing. Maybe you could share that story because it was quite funny, about how you did 200 squats one day and then what happened the next day.
So bad. Usually, again, because I was in lockdown with the rest of the world last March to June, my business partner and I, she had a trainer, and I'll do a little shout out to So Conrad. We started working out virtually on Instagram. I've never had the luxury of having the time to have a trainer. He's fantastic, except, you know, once in a while I think I'm superwoman and I overdo it because he's doing it and he's pushing me and I'm listening to him. And yes, the next day I really could not walk or move, which is not good. I do. But I must say, I agree with all the ladies. For me, because I am stuck in the clinic and I feel so weighted down with the gear that I have on, often it's 2 masks and a shield. I'm outside. I'm like Farhana. I don't run as much, but I bike. I bike as much as possible if I don't do it every day. And, you know, winter, it's been hard, but I have to be outside every day, even if it's 10 minutes. Yoga was a big thing in my life, but I'm not comfortable with any sort of hot yoga place, and they've been closed. So it's been outside hiking.
Okay. And Michelle, I wanted to ask you, what is that you wanted to do when you were a child? What was that dream job? And how does that correlate to what you're doing now with Femme TV?
My dream job, my grandmother planted this idea that I was going to be an anchor person. So I actually thought that I was going to be an anchor in my earlier years. And then she sent me to sewing classes. And then I thought I was going to be a fashion designer. So none of those things are correlating with my life now. But when I was younger, I absolutely thought as either I was going to be a fashion designer or I was going to be an anchor girl. So here we are, none of the above.
I mean, well, you have Femme TV, so maybe you're tying in with the film and television realm a bit.
Maybe.
I'm sure there's something in there. Susan, what are you looking most forward to do when restrictions are lifted and this pandemic is over?
Well, to see all these lovely ladies in person once again and have a nice glass of wine and chit chat. That is basically all I want. I just want normalcy. You know, I think that a lot of people I've heard, you know, have said, you know, I can't wait to go away on a plane. That's fantastic. I can't wait to do that too, but I just really want to feel normal.
Deb, what has COVID made you realize? Is there something that's happened during this pandemic that's kind of surprised you? It could be something positive that's come out of this pandemic.
I think I've touched on it a little bit. I have never not worked, and not to be able to go into my clinic. And it sounds hokey, but I really do love what I do. I love caring for people. I love the skill of it. Not being able to go in and do what I've been trained to do, interact with my staff, they're my work family, my partner, human interaction.
So I had one question for Michelle, because you started this Femme TV, Femme & Co. What advice would you give women that are looking for their tribe, that are looking for their circle of friends? What could they do to seek out these lovely women and, you know, find their own tribe, make their own tribe?
For me, I don't think it's anything that you need to try too hard to find. I think once you connect with people on a deeper level, you have enough in common with, and you build and nurture and respect and nourish those relationships, you inadvertently just build your tribe through being consistent, being loyal, being honest, being respectful, being kind, being present. All of those traits and qualities are essential in building a really strong tribe. And that's what I would say to anyone who's looking to build. Don't look, just do. And by doing and being, you will naturally build your tribe. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And Farhana, how have you found or how have you been able to maintain connections with your friends and your family throughout this pandemic? Would you say that social media has facilitated that, or Zoom? How do you check in?
It's been tough. I'm not gonna lie. I live in Toronto. My whole family lives out west, so it's been a lot of FaceTime. It's been a lot of texting. It's different. It's very, very different. And with friendships, you know, we try to do what we can, whether it's a driveway visit or a front door. When we had the summer last year and we were able to meet up, there were a lot of patios, and thank goodness for that. But you just do the best you can. I think the important part is to check in, to make sure that your people, your chosen family, are good and that they're okay, and that they know you're thinking about them. Just a little text message or a phone call can go a really long way.
That's very true. And Deb, you have 2 boys. How have you found that the family dynamic has been affected by the pandemic? Are there some positives that have come from it, or?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you're busy, you've got your career, you've got your profession, because they've never not gone to school, and the whole online learning, just like we've been talking about, our business is pivoting. Schools, education, what a huge adaptation they've had to go through, and very quickly. So I'm very grateful to their schools and the educational system. They've been at home, so I've been here with them, monitoring, encouraging, seeing what they do, being very proud of them. I'm very proud of our children. This has been a huge stress on them, change in their life, and you know, school is probably the most important thing for children, right? So being able to be present with them, that's been a big silver lining.
Yeah, well, for children, I think going to school is not just an educational thing, but it's a social thing as well.
You're
So I
right.
definitely empathize with children that have pretty much been forced to be at home because of the pandemic. They're missing that huge social component from their lives. So if it's tough for us, I can only imagine how a child is, you know, trying to deal with those social struggles as well. Definitely. Just wanted to close us off by asking you one last question. If you could tell yourself something that you've learned throughout this pandemic, but go back in time and tell yourself this piece of advice at the beginning of the pandemic, what piece of advice would you give your past self to better be prepared and deal with COVID-19? Michelle, maybe you can start us off.
Absolutely. So I think one of the advice I'd say, it's not going to end right away, because I think initially we were like, you know, it's going to end tomorrow, it's going to end, it's going to end. So really preparing yourself that it's probably not going to be, you know, soon, adjusting accordingly, and really kind of tell yourself you're going to be fine. You know, you keep healthy, you do the right thing, you maintain distance, you follow the guidelines, you listen to what the government and the health professionals are saying, you'll be okay. Try to stay away from the panic. That seems to be a huge part of the problem that, you know, society is having now. So much panic is happening. So if you can find ways of dealing with the panic that sat in for me too, initially when this just started, I find that you'll be okay in the long run. Yeah.
All right. So no fear mongering, and wash your hands, wear a mask, all of that. No, very good advice.
Yeah.
Farhana, what would you go back a year ago and tell yourself at the beginning of the pandemic to make this time a little bit more amicable, less stressful?
I think for me, I would echo a lot of what Michelle said, but I'd also want to remind myself to slow down. And that's something I've never been very good at. And the pandemic has actually been instrumental in teaching me to slow down, to take time for me, for my daughters, to appreciate how much they bring to my life, that I am surrounded by so many gifts that I was rushing through life, not truly appreciating. So slowing down, taking time to smell the flowers, to smell the coffee, and enjoy those little moments. Like, I mean, it was a gift for me to have several months at home with my girls. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. It's actually something that I now make a point, even though they're back at school, to carve out that time every single day just for us, because it's so important. And I was rushing through life, and I'm glad I'm not anymore.
Yeah, that's a very good piece of advice, to live your life as it's happening. Yeah, definitely. And Deb, for yourself, what would you go back a year ago and tell yourself pre-pandemic to prepare yourself for the pandemic? Buy more PPE, maybe.
Yes, that it will be okay. Again, I echo everything that Michelle has said, and Farhana, but that it will be okay. I think that's a huge thing, to be able to slow down. I've never been good at that as well. That, you know, it's okay not to be working. It's okay not to be doing what I usually do. Put on my other hat, be a mom, become a domestic diva. I've really enjoyed that. I have enjoyed that. And in the back of my head, that it will be okay. This is a year, 2 years, as long as, you know, be patient, be kind. It will be okay.
Very good advice. So thank you, ladies, for joining us for this Femme TV interview. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can find us on Instagram at femme_and_co. So make sure to like, follow, and keep up to date on the latest things that Femme TV is doing. Thank you so much, ladies.